In a society where appearance seems to define everything, a young woman, after suffering years of bullying because of her looks, decides to undergo surgery. What she hoped would be a new beginning turns into an even more challenging experience. As she faces the prejudices and stigmas associated with her transformation, our story begins with a young woman traveling on the subway with her mother. As she waits to reach her destination, she observes the other women in the train car and rates them based on the plastic surgery procedures they seem to have undergone. This young woman, who is about to undergo plastic surgery, says goodbye to her mother at the hospital before entering the operating room. Although her face isn't shown right away, it is soon revealed that she is Kang, Mirai. Since she was little, Mirai was the target of constant teasing because of her appearance. 3 kids in particular bullied her relentlessly. Tired of the humiliation, Mirai decided to lose weight and became a smart and outstanding student. However, nothing changed. She continued to be the target of teasing, even from her crush, which led her to never experience a normal life or feel beautiful. After completing the surgery, Mirai meets up with her mother. Now that her transformation is complete, she hopes her life will change for the better. Notice how her face has changed and also how people treat her differently. As she evaluates herself in front of the mirror, she gives her new face a score of 79 out of 100. Meanwhile, a man is talking to a taxi driver about the driver's daughter. The taxi driver, who is Mirai's father, boasts about his daughter, comparing her to well-known actresses like Kim Go-yoon and Kim Tae-hee. Even though the man closely examines the photo of Mirai hanging in the taxi, he doesn't say anything about it. On University Orientation Day, Mirai meets her best friend Oh Hyun-jung, whom she met in high school. Together, they walk around the campus and take pictures to remember the moment. However, Mirai starts to notice the stares from others, which makes her nervous. She wonders if people might be judging her for her appearance. That insecurity disappears momentarily when a guy approaches her to ask for her phone number. Feeling uncomfortable with the situation, Mirai responds that she doesn't have a number, turning him down. The guy walks away embarrassed while Mirai is left feeling confused. Hyunjung encourages her to have confidence in her new face and reminds her that, over time, she'll learn to feel comfortable with herself. Later, Mirai joins the first-year students in the chemistry department. As she watches her classmates, she evaluates the faces of other girls, imagining what surgeries they might have had. During this activity, a group of students, she doubts that she is really a freshman, which forces her to prove it. At that moment, Hyun Soo-ah appears, a student whose beauty dazzles everyone, including Mirai, who sees her as perfect. At the same time, another student grabs the attention of those present. It's Do Kyung-seok, also from the chemistry department. The students move to another classroom to watch a welcome video featuring alumni, including actress Lee Jung-ae. Some pay attention to the video, but others can't help but look at Mirai, Kyung-seok, and Soo-ah. In a group activity, the students introduce the newcomers, generating interest in Mirai, Kyung-seok, and Soo-ah. During the games, Mirai shows her intelligence, helping her team reach the final round, although Duda, being chosen as the leader, manages to overcome her fear with Hyunjung's support. On her part, Soo-ah leads her team, choosing to sing as their talent, but she needs Kyung-seok's help to complete their performance. When it's Mirai's turn, she surprises everyone by dancing to New Face by PSY. Her performance is met with enthusiasm, and for the first time, Mirai feels like she can show herself just as she is. Later, while looking for a moment of solitude, she calls her mother, crying with relief as she feels that she is finally accepted. However, the day takes an unexpected turn when Kim Chang-woo, an upperclassman, tries to take advantage of Mirai by inviting her to a secluded room. Before the situation gets complicated, Kyung-seok intervenes to thwart Chang-woo's intentions. As they exit, Kyung-seok confronts Mirai and asks her if she is the same person he met in high school. Mirai, surprised, doesn't respond, letting her gaze do the talking. Kyung-seok asks Mirai if she is the same person who attended the same high school as him. She shares the same name as someone he knew back then, and he's curious to know if it's the same person. Mirai, feeling nervous, doesn't know how to respond, but Kyung-seok doesn't think much of it and they walk away. Mirai remembers how popular Kyung-seok was in high school. Everyone knew his name and followed his every move. This constant attention was exhausting for him, which led him to change schools shortly after. Although Mirai has never forgotten him, decide to act like she doesn't know him and avoid any interaction. Later, Rai shares her concerns about Kyung-seok with Hyunjung. She fears that he will recognize her and doesn't know how to react if he asks her the same question again. Hyun-jung reassures her, saying that he probably doesn't remember her face, but maybe he's interested in her. Meanwhile, Kyung-seok visits Woo-jin, a friend who is in the hospital. Woo-jin is going through a tough time after being kicked out of his house for wanting to open a bar instead of continuing with the family business. During the conversation, Kyung-seok mentions that he is still studying chemistry despite his father's opposition, and he clarifies that he no longer cares. Her mother. It's the day of the university entrance ceremony. Mireille, accompanied by Hyun-jung, meets her friend's parents, who shower her with compliments. However, when Mireille leaves, their personalities change and they warn Hyun-jung to never undergo plastic surgery without telling them. On the other hand, Kyung-seok is also heading to the ceremony with his family. On the way, a delivery driver accidentally hits the side mirror of the car. Although the incident could have escalated, Kyung-seok's father forgives the delivery driver, using the situation to strengthen his image as a congressman. At the ceremony, Mireille's parents are also present. Even though her mother tries to calm her down, the situation gets complicated when her father sees her. At first, he doesn't recognize her and thinks she's a classmate of his daughter. When Mireille reveals the truth to him, he is shocked and leaves, unable to accept the change in his daughter. During the following activities, Chang-woo, the student who showed interest in Mireille during orientation, insists on sitting with her and her friends in class. Even though Mireille tries to keep her distance, they end up having lunch together. However, Chang-woo takes the moment to ask her for an answer to his confession. Mireille steps away to the bathroom to buy some time. Meanwhile, his mother approaches Chang-woo and also confesses her feelings, leaving the young man bewildered. When Mireille returns, before she can respond, Chang informs her that he is no longer interested in her because he now prefers her mother. As she walks away, Kyung-seok intervenes, causing Chang to lose his balance and fall. Furious, Chang tries to attack Kyung-seok, but he doesn't succeed. Mireille tries to calm the situation but ends up being pushed. Kyung-seok catches her before she falls, leaving Mireille surprised. Later, Soo-ah approaches Mireille to offer her support if she has any more problems with Chang-woo. They both start to form a friendship. In the lab, Professor John Woo-jung's assistant leads the class and divides the students into groups. Kyung-seok offers to be the leader of their team, while Soo-ah takes on an organizational role. After class, Kyung-seok returns to Mireille, a perfume she had dropped. In a brief exchange, she begs him not to tell anyone how she used to be. Even though Kyung-seok remains silent, he seems to reflect on her words. That night, at the semester kickoff party organized at Woo-jin's bar, Mireille tries to stay out of it. However, Kyung-seok draws attention by drinking for her when she feels unable to have more alcohol. Although Soo tries to attract him, he shows no interest. Throughout the night, Chang-woo confronts Mireille, blaming her for Soo's rejection. His offensive words make Mireille lose her patience and hit him with her bag before walking away. Kyung-seok, watching from afar, notices Mireille's mood and remains worried about her. Mireille storms off. Woo-young approaches her. She storms off in anger and sits on the steps in front of a stall, looking for a moment of peace. There, she is approached by Woo-young, the lab assistant from her chemistry class, who tries to start a friendly conversation with her. However, their conversation is interrupted by Kyung-seok, who is visibly upset and grabs her by the arm to pull her away from Woo-young. The latter also grabs her wrist, trying to stop them. Mireille, frustrated, demands that both of them let her go and walks away alone. After the group dinner, Soo-ah is taken to her supposedly luxurious apartment complex by several guys who accompany her, impressed by the place. However, Soo-ah, once alone, hides in a dark corner until the guys leave. And then she heads to a nearby bus stop, revealing that she doesn't live in the complex as they had assumed. At a restaurant, Mireille is waiting for Hyun-jung when a man mistakes her for another woman he met at a club. Mireille quickly corrects him, and when Hyun-jung arrives, she breaks down in tears as she remembers Chang-woo's comments about her face. Still hurt, she shares with Hyun-jung her fears about how to openly talk about her plastic surgery, questioning whether she will ever be accepted without being judged. Hyun-jung comforts her, reminding her that her worth doesn't depend on what others think. Meanwhile, Kyung-seok's mother unexpectedly returns to Korea, while his father, Congressman Do, discusses strategies with his team to attract young voters. A call from his wife interrupts the meeting, revealing the obvious tension between them. Won-ho is still affected by Soo-ah's rejection, but he perks up when she greets him kindly and comments on his laws, long legs, which boosts his mood. However, Soo-ah has a conversation with Kyung-seok about the misunderstandings that happened during dinner. She claims that her comment about Mireille's plastic surgery was not meant to be malicious. But Kyung-seok doesn't believe her and remains indifferent. Rumors affect Mirai. Kyung-seok questions her concern over others' opinions, feeling like everyone is talking about her at once. Behind her back in class, Kyung-seok sits next to her and asks if she's the type who worries too much about what others think. Although my RA doesn't respond, his body language confirms it. In a later conversation, Mirai admits that she underwent surgery because she felt she needed it. However, Kyung-seok tells her that the real problem wasn't her face, but her mindset. Mirai, upset, walks away from the conversation. Chang-woo organizes a meeting with the first-year students, and he subjects him to exercises as punishment. Even though he excludes the girls, he insists that Mirai stays. Sua tries to support her, but Mirai stands up for herself, asking what she did wrong. In the midst of this situation, Kyung-seok intervenes, taking down Chang-woo and dragging him to a bathroom to teach him a lesson. The news of the incident spreads quickly, with Kyung-seok being praised as a hero, while Chang-woo becomes the target of mockery. Later, Woo-jung warns Chang-woo to change his attitude or he will face more serious consequences. On campus, Kyung-seok and Mirai run into each other and decide to have lunch together. During lunch, he apologizes for his previous words and they both clear up their misunderstandings, strengthening their bond. After almost getting hurt in the lab class, Woo-jung asks Mirai not to touch the broken glass pieces on the floor. He also instructs Sua to take care of her injuries. While warning Mirai to be more careful, the whole class watches the situation, including Kyung-seok, who stays behind a worried Mirai and an alert Woo-jung. Seo-ah, along with a friend, heads to the girls' bathroom. Mirai quickly passes by to make sure Seo-ah is okay, just like Won-ho. However, Seo-ah isn't as hurt as she seems. After cleaning up, she apologizes to Kyung-seok for making him clean the broken glass in class. He stays cold and replies that he didn't do it for her. As she walks away, other guys who heard about the incident approach Seo-ah, looking concerned. On the way to lunch, Mirai is stopped by Kyung-seok, who asks her if it was really her who dropped the flask. Although at first she is sure it was her fault, as she eats, she starts to doubt maybe it wasn't her who dropped it. As Mirai continues to reflect on the incident, her friends comment on Woo-young and discuss the events related to Chang-woo. Woo-young knew what happened in the bathroom. This explains his protective attitude towards the first-year students. Kyung-seok's mother currently has a meeting on campus with her team for her perfume company. After the meeting, she runs into a colleague who is now a professor at the university. During the tour, she also runs into Woo-young and greets him warmly. Meanwhile, Mirai is on the phone with her mom, who reassures her, saying that her dad will talk to her again soon. Mirai's dad is busy driving his taxi when he receives another voice message from his wife, begging him to come home and talk to his daughter. Even though he's not ready to go back, some photos of Mirai sent by his mom make him think. Kyung-seok returns home and talks to his younger sister, Kyung-hee. Her father plans to send her to the United States because he believes she won't get into a good university in Korea, like him. Meanwhile, Kyung-seok reads an article announcing his mother as the new CEO of the perfume company. That night, Hyun-jung and Mirai return home together. Mirai feels paranoid hearing noises behind them. But even though they don't see anyone, they quicken their pace until they safely reach Hyun-jung's house. The next day, the perfume sample event that Mirai had won arrives. Along with Hyun-jung, she is impressed by how beautiful everything is. There they meet Woo-jung. But what really surprises her is the appearance of Kyung-seok's mother, who is also attending the event. Although Mirai recognizes her immediately, Kyung-seok's mother doesn't seem to remember Mirai. Later, during the event, Mirai gets the chance to talk to Kyung-seok's mother and reveals that she studies chemistry because she wants to work in the perfume industry. This excites her mother, as she also studied chemistry to pursue that path. While her mother gives a speech, Mirai remembers how a magazine in high school that mentioned Kyung-seok's mother influenced her decision to study chemistry. After the event, Mirai says goodbye to Woo-young and Hyun-jung, but Kyung-seok's mother invites her to dinner. Unbeknownst to him, Kyung-seok is also on his way to the same place to help out at Woo-jin's bar. When Kyung-seok arrives, he's surprised to see his mother sharing a table with Mirai. After a brief confrontation, he leaves the bar while his mother confesses to Mirai that he is her son. Later, Mirai reflects on her a connection with Kyung-seok's mother while he walks alone, remembering difficult moments from his childhood related to his parents. The mother, for her part, also gets emotional remembering happy moments with Kyung-seok. Mirai and Hyun-jung walk home together after a day of classes. During the journey, Mirai tells Hyun-jung about the request that Kyung-seok's mother made to her. Although she hesitates at first, she ultimately decides to fulfill the request. At that moment, they hear a noise behind them and become alert. When they turn around, they see someone hiding in the shadows of a nearby tree. Mirai runs after the man to catch him, while Hyun-jung calls the police. The teenager is arrested and taken to the police station, where he explains that he was following Mirai because he mistook her for a celebrity and wanted to confirm his suspicions. He insists he has no other intentions. Mirai's father arrives at the police station furious upon learning that someone had been following his daughter. Mirai, however, is more surprised to see her father than by the situation. After clearing up the misunderstanding, they release the teenager and Mirai's father accompanies her home. Before leaving, the officers who doubt that he is her guardian check his identification. During the process, they discover that he had been reported missing by Mirai's mother. Hyun-jung invites Mirai's father to have tea at her house. And later, Mirai's mother comes to pick her up. Finally, Mirai's parents reconcile, and Mirai bids them farewell with a smile. That night, Mirai sends a message to Kyung-seok asking him to meet the next day at school. The school festival is approaching. Won-ho and Sung-woon get excited about the news about the event, while Seo-ae is encouraged to work as a waitress during the festival. Due to her popularity for processing the idea, she looks out the window and sees Mirai and Kyung-seok talking. Mirai and Kyung-seok decide to grab a drink together. During the conversation, Kyung-seok apologizes for his behavior after seeing her with her mother. Even though Mirai insists she's not upset, she takes the opportunity to ask him about his relationship with his mother. Do you really not want to talk to her? The question disappoints Kyung-seok, who thought the reason for the meeting was something else. Mirai tries to persuade him by sharing a story about her father. Despite being upset about his plastic surgery, he always cared for her. The time she felt someone was following her at night turned out to be her father, making sure she got home safely. This confession leads Kyung-seok to reflect on his own relationship with his mother, and the moment they reunited after years of separation. On their way home, Mirai and Kyung-seok cross a street. Mirai is almost hit by a car, but Kyung-seok saves her just in time. They both stand face to face, just a few inches away before continuing on their way to the bus stop. There, Kyung-seok asks Mirai to repeat the dance steps she did in high school. Although she doesn't remember them, he does. Later, Mirai reflects on her relationship with Kyung-seok, realizing that he's not the person she thought he was. Meanwhile, the festival planning committee assigns Mirai, Seo-ah, and Jae-hyo as waitresses, which sparks comments about their appearances. Even though Mirai feels uncomfortable in the uniform, she gets ready to face the event. Festival day, Soo-ah, Mirai, Jae-hyo in skirts, Mirai uneasy. Hyo puts on the short skirts that the planning committee assigned them for their work as waitresses. Even though Mirai doesn't feel comfortable in the outfit, the three girls are required to wear it during the event. While Mirai takes orders and serves food and drinks to the customers, she runs into Park Jung-chul and his friends at the food stall. This brings back memories of how he used to tease her in high school, cruelly mocking her face. Years later, they cross paths again, this time at the university festival. Jung-chul and his friends arrived at the stall to see Seo-ah, whom they had met during her part-time job. Meanwhile, Kyung-seok encourages Woo-jin to apologize to Jung-bun at the festival. Woo-jin feels guilty for not listening to her when she warned him about the employee who was stealing money at the bar. Jung is at the food stall for the chemistry department, so Woo-jin takes the opportunity to apologize to her. Hyun visits Junoflow's entertainment agency, where he also meets the legendary rapper Tiger Hoka. In the recording studio, Hyun shows off his rapping skills, although at first he struggles with nerves. Mirai, tired of serving tables and overwhelmed by Jung-chul's presence, takes a break. Kyung-seok offers to cover for her, drawing everyone's attention, including Jung-chul, who finally remembers Mirai and acknowledges her new look. Woo-jin apologizes to Jung-bun for ignoring her and dismisses the employee who was stealing at the bar. Jung-bun forgives him after a sincere gesture of remorse, which rekindles her feelings for him. Mirai shares a table with Jung-chul, his friends Seo-ah and Jae-hyo. During the conversation, In-yeon-chul mentions that Mir-rae had a crush on him in high school and calls her Kang Org, to call her Kang Org, her old offensive nickname. Furious, Mirai confronts him and leaves. School for him. Kyung-seok, who witnessed the scene, is visibly upset, just like Soo-ae. Soo-ae apologizes to Mirai for inviting Jung-chul to the festival, assuring her that she was unaware of their history. He has also It helps to better understand why some people turn to plastic surgery to overcome their issues. Hyun confronts Young-chul on campus, demanding explanations for his behavior towards Mirai. Young-chul points out that he only attended the festival because Seo-ah invited him, highlighting the interactions between the two on Instagram, which raises Hyun-jung's suspicions. Mirai leaves the festival and receives a call from Kyung-seok's mother, with whom she agrees to meet. During their conversation, Mirai reminds Kyung-seok's mother how she saved her from trying to commit suicide in high school. Although plastic surgery hasn't solved all her problems, the conversation gives her a new perspective on the challenges of being perceived as beautiful. Back at the festival, the girls from the department confront the guys about their misogynistic comments and refuse to keep serving at the booth. Tae-hee receives support from Zumbai Tae-young, who encourages her, reminding her that not all men look for a single standard of beauty. Mirai meets with Hyun-jung, who shows her evidence that her AH intentionally sought out Jung-chul on social media. Although Mirai doubts Seo-ah's intentions, this makes her reflect. The festival continues and Mirai is recruited along with Kyung-seok to participate in a speed dating game. Kyung-seok, impatient with the game, declares his interest in being with Mirai. Later, when going to pick up a shirt to change, they both get stuck in a room with the door jammed. Nervous about being alone with him, Mirai tries to stay calm while Kyung-seok respects her space and waits patiently on the other side of the room. Mirai and Kyung-seok find themselves trapped in the department club. Mirai needs to change into a clean shirt, but she feels uncomfortable doing it in the same room as Kyung-seok. She describes the situation as if they both missed the last ferry and had to spend the night together in a room. Kyung-seok, trying to calm the situation. He gives her 20 seconds to change, and another 30 when she realizes she put the shirt on inside out. Sua and Jae-hyo walk around campus. When Won-ho and Jung Woo-jin approach them, even though Sua isn't interested in staying for the festival activities, she agrees to take a photo with Won-ho. However, they are soon interrupted by Jung-ho and another friend who also want pictures with her. Meanwhile, Jae-hyo checks the notifications on Kyung-seok's phone. She has in her possession and sees a photo of her father carrying an elderly woman during a promotional event. Mirai and Kyung-seok talk. He praises her for standing up to Jung-chul, though Mirai downplays it. He congratulates her for bravely standing up to Jung-chul the night before. Even though Mirai downplays the fact, Kyung-seok asks if they could have been friends in high school if she hadn't distanced herself from him. Mirai responds that she wouldn't have wanted to be his friend because of her appearance. But Kyung-seok dismisses that excuse, stating that appearances don't matter. Everything. He adds that he doesn't necessarily like pretty girls. But then she panics, realizing that she might have implied something offensive. He quickly adds that he likes Mirai because she's fun. The conversation ends when Tae-jung and Tae-hai arrive with a technician to fix the door. Once outside, Kyung-seok declares that he is Mirai's friend. It's something that surprises her since she's never had a male friend before. They both stop to watch the fireworks. But Kyung-seok can't take his eyes off Mirai, watching her tenderly as she admires the sky. From a distance, Soo-ah watches them with jealousy. After dropping Mirai off at the bus station, Kyung-seok returns home, where he comforts his sister Kyung-hee, who is upset about her low scores on the entrance exam. He assures her that the grades don't matter, everything, reminding him how his mother always supported him when his father was critical of him. On campus, rumors about Kyung-seok's parents spread quickly. In class, Mirai and Soo-ah listen as their classmates discuss Kyung-seok's parents' divorce. Soo-ah returns Kyung-seok's phone, but he realizes that someone has looked at the photo of his father. Soo-ah tries to apologize, but the situation creates tension. Woo-young invites Mirai to a meeting at Kyung-seok's mother's perfume company. There they find out that she is in the hospital after eating spoiled food. During the visit, Woo-young learns more about the broken relationship between Kyung-seok and his mother. Meanwhile, at the after-party for the festival, the guys from the department apologize to the girls for their misogynistic comments, which marks a moment of reconciliation. Kyung-seok finally visits his mother in the hospital, where she apologizes for leaving him when he was a child. He explains that he had to choose between his family and his dreams. Kyung-seok, upon learning the truth about the divorce and the accident that caused him to lose his sense of smell, he confronts his father, who had lied about many things. Furious and disappointed, Kyung-seok leaves the house and moves into Woojin's bar. Mirai, meanwhile, enjoys family time with her parents and Hyun-jung, taking pictures together and singing karaoke. The next day, he attends the opening party of Woo-jung's house with Hyun-jung. Although Kyung-seok is initially absent, he arrives at the end with an unexpected gift, a television that he recently bought for Woo-young. Kyung-seok buys a television for the opening party of Woo-young's house. Thanks to Woo-jin, he manages to negotiate and acquire it. When Kyung-seok arrives at the party with the TV, Hyun-jung, Woo-young, and Mi-rae watch him in surprise. The group organizes a barbecue on the rooftop of the building. During the meeting, Kyung-seok can't help but feel jealous. Seeing how well Mi-rae and Woo-young get along, especially when they share similar shopping habits. His discomfort grows when Woo-young plays the guitar for them. Meanwhile, Kyung-seok can't help but steal glances at Mi-rae while she watches Woo-young. After the barbecue, everyone helps clean up. Kyung-seok offers to wash the dishes for Mi-rae, but he struggles since he's never done it before. Woo-young suggests spending more time. Kyung-seok proposes watching a movie, close, even going to the movies. Kyung-seok seizes the idea and suggests to Mi-rae that they watch a movie as part of their class assignment. Although she initially hesitates, Mi-rae agrees and they plan to meet the next day at the movies at 6 p.m. The day of the date arrives and Mi-rae gets ready nervously, trying on several outfits. She even visits a cosmetic store to buy a lipstick, remembering how she used to put on makeup in high school just to take it off. Later, out of fear of being teased, meanwhile, Tae-hee and Jeon chat on campus. Tae-hee reveals that she started dating Tae-jung after they confessed their feelings to each other at the after party of the festival. Soo-ah, who is watching from a distance, remembers the interactions between Tae-hee and Tae-jung that night and decides to approach him, offering her support as student president. And suggesting they go out for a drink together. Back at the movies, Mi-rae arrives and finds Kyung-seok waiting for her. She can't help but admire him, but she pulls herself together when he calls her attention. Kyung-seok buys the tickets and popcorn, but Mi-rae insists on paying him. While they wait for the movie to start, she takes out a notebook to jot down notes about the film, showing her commitment to the assignment. During the screening, Mi-rae struggles to concentrate as she keeps looking at Kyung-seok, even noticing that another girl is also throwing glances at him. After the movie, they both decide to have dinner at a fancy restaurant. Kyung-seok, although he tries to act relaxed, is keeping an eye on the prices so he doesn't spend too much. During dinner, he asks Mi-rae about her birthday, but when he doesn't get a response, he comments with jealousy that Woo-jung shouldn't know it either if he doesn't. After dinner, he pays the bill for both of them. As they leave the restaurant, it starts to rain. There's only one umbrella left at the nearby store, so they share it as they walk. During the trip, Kyung-seok tells Mi-rae that he finally visited his mother in the hospital. Mi-rae, relieved, understands that Kyung-seok no longer holds a grudge against his mother. Kyung-seok drops Mi-rae off near her apartment. Before saying goodbye, she hands him the umbrella to use if it rains again. They exchange glances before parting ways, and Mi-rae. Finally, she admits to herself that she doesn't see Kyung-seok just as a friend. Meanwhile, Kyung-seok's father is looking for his mother to ask her about her whereabouts, but she is unaware that Kyung-seok has left home. Kyung-seok, for his part, decides to stay with Woo-young as his new roommate, agreeing to do the household chores as part of the deal. In Woo-young's apartment, Mi-rae arrives to deliver some food that her mother prepared. However, upon entering, she runs into Kyung-seok, who has just come out of the shower. When Mi-rae asks him what he's doing there, he casually replies that he's now Woo-young's roommate. And so we reach the midpoint of this fascinating story, where emotions and conflicts are fully unfolding. Mi-rae's unexpected encounter with Kyung-seok in Woo-young's apartment leaves many questions hanging in the air as the relationships between the characters seem to become even more complicated. How will these connections evolve? Will Mi-rae be able to face her insecurities and accept her feelings? If you want to know how this story ends, filled with exciting moments, subscribe and comment on which part you like the most. Because this is very long, so it depends on you. For the second part,